Hi, Henry. Hi, Cora. Hi, Bonnie. Do you know who this is? You're right, Curious George. We know about Curious George the monkey, and maybe you've already heard this story, but I took it out of the library. I thought it'd be fun to read because it's getting closer to Christmas and you have a tree up. So I'm going to read Curious George, Merry Christmas, Curious George by Margaret and H.A. Ray. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey and very curious. Today, George was visiting a Christmas tree farm. You can help me pick out the perfect tree for our home, his friend told him. Keep close to me while we look. George promised to be good, but little monkeys sometimes forget. The Christmas tree farm had more trees than George had ever seen. He found a very nice one right away, but then another one caught his eye. And then one more, and then another. George was curious. How many Christmas trees could there be? How many Christmas trees do you think he climbed? George could not resist climbing the biggest tree of all to get a better view. He looked for the man with the yellow hat, but his friend was nowhere in sight. Two men tromped into the clearing. "There's our tree," one man told the other, and the men cut the tree down and loaded it onto the truck. Along with George. George held on tightly. He saw the man with the yellow hat as the truck drove away, but the truck was still going too fast. George could not jump off. He was scared, but still a little curious. Soon the truck stopped in front of a hospital. George peeked out from the branches as the men carried his tree inside. The hospital was a busy place. George jumped out of the tree. There was lots to see here, and he looked at some interesting pictures. He found a jacket and tried it on. He played on a trampoline, and he even went for a ride on a speedy little cart. What fun! Then George spotted something very interesting. It was his tree. George knew that Christmas trees were supposed to have tinsel and twinkling lights and shiny ornaments, but this tree was empty. George thought and thought, and then he had an idea. Next, George noticed a pile of gifts in the corner of the room. The gifts looked pretty, but George was curious. Could he make them look even prettier? This red bow would look much better on the green box, and the name tag might look nicer on a different package too. A nurse arrived, and what did she see? A monkey, and he's making a big mess. A group of children crowded around the nurse. They were all patients at the hospital. Even though it was Christmas, the children were not smiling and didn't look happy. "Come along," the nurse said, picking George up. "I'd better get you out of here before you ruin anything else." Oh, those kids don't look very happy. I think they don't feel well. And there's the mess he made of the tree and the presents. Oh, George. Oh, that curious George. A girl with a cast stared at George's tree. Suddenly, she giggled. Look, she said, it's my X-ray. A boy laughed, and there's the balloon from my room. All the children started chattering and laughing as they looked at George's funny decorations. Can't he stay for the party? The boy asked the nurse. We don't mind about the gifts. It'll be fun to sort them out. Please let him stay, please, the other children chimed in. When she saw how happy the children looked, the nurse looked happier too. I suppose he can stay, she said, if he promises to fix the tree. George was happy to help. The children helped too. Some of them returned George's decorations, while the others handed George the real ornaments. He scampered up and down, stringing lights and hanging tinsel. Being a monkey, he was good at that sort of thing. He was also good at making the children laugh. When the tree was finished, George helped open the gifts. He was having such a good time that he completely forgot that he was lost. Until the man with the yellow hat hurried into the room. There you are, George, he cried. I followed that truck all the way here. George was very happy to be reunited with his friend. The nurse invited them both to stay for milk and cookies.
Ho, ho, ho! Did someone mention milk and cookies?
A man in a red suit walked into the room, his belly jiggling. He was holding a beautiful golden star. George's eyes widened. It was Santa Claus.
Who would like to put the star on top of the tree? Santa asked.
George, the children cried at once. Let George do it. George scurried up the tree one last time, and he put the golden star in place, carefully. Merry Christmas, Curious George. Merry Christmas, everybody. Not Christmas yet, but it's getting closer. Have fun. Love you. Mwah.